Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome to the show. Yes, let's just go a bit here.
Third time lucky.
Third time lucky. So if you're just joining us, the live stream now, apologies. We have had weird technical problems where the sound card has just, it's switched sound card mid. It's switched sound card. The software switched sound card, and of course everything wasn't plugged into the other sound card. It switched sound card totally of its own accord. So we didn't know why we lost the sound, but the software decided to midstream change to another audio interface. I've got a witness here.
We touched nothing.
So my famed ineptness is
it's not
my fault.
I'm in the room and I saw him touch nothing. It's all good.
Okay, so let's just go from the top again and we'll do the introductions again. So apologies if you've watched this already, but I mean a lot of people will be joining the stream, not live. So yes, so welcome to the Gaz Williams Show. Here is my good friend Tom Kirton, who's joining us today, specifically because he has been working with Polyend on the brand new Polyend Synth. So Tom's been working as a preset designer. So we'll be looking at some of the presets that he's made and also talking about this incredible new synth. I'm a big fan of Polyend, and they're good friends of mine as well. So really love seeing their ambitious, wonderful products come into the market. So, and I think that this Polyend Synth is one of their best ones yet. So, if anybody could go to the other stream, I'll kill the other stream in case there is something happening there. But it's it's so annoying to have a stream change audio interface. I need to look into that. I didn't know that was even possible, but the software decided to change audio interfaces midway in the stream, which is just a really annoying thing. But yes, I'll be able to take questions as well from the audience as well. So I'm sure many of you will have lots of interesting things to ask Tom, who will be testing his knowledge of this synthesizer, because it is, well, it's like 8 synths really, isn't it?
You got the 8 engines, but I guess the key thing is that it's the 3-part multi-timbrality is the really cool thing, because that for me is what I've enjoyed more than anything, because you can kind of get it doing things and it literally just playing instantly. It's such a quick thing to use, which is what really did it for me. So, but yeah, I've had my head in just making presets, which is kind of a weird world. It's it's menus and dials and
something that I really struggle with, making presets. I've been asked to do preset libraries before and really failed at it. But anyway, less about that. Just checking. Hopefully everything is finished now with the other stream, and we are good. Any questions? We'll take them later, but if you can preface the question with a double Q, that will mean it's double capital Q if you can as well. That will mean it's easier to see the questions in the torrent of comments.
Also, we do have one of my fellow preset makers. If I can give a shout out to Sandroid in the chat, if there's any questions he might be able to answer, any that I can't answer. Like I said, we're not the designers of this. We had it early and we got to really play with it. So if Sandroid's happy to answer any questions, I'm sure he will endeavour to help people in the chat as well.
Thank you, Sandroid. That's thank you. That's really helpful. Okay, I think we're good now. I don't think I'm gonna actually turn off the other audio interface just so there is no chance of it switching on to that one. That's frustrating because that was the GCS 8 from Boss. I don't know who or why or what reason that it switched. I was trying to simplify the stream today by just using the built-in YouTube Studio one. I normally have been using StreamYard. But anyway, I was just trying to simplify things, and then that happened. So no idea why. But anyway, thank you, everybody, for sticking with us. And again, I'm sure that's all very interesting to those of you who are gagging to know about the Polyend Synth. So anyway, okay, so hold back with questions just for a moment, unless you want to, asks Sandroid in the chat, the live chat. He's been saying he will answer questions. But let's have a little look then. So first thing then, what I'd like you to do, Tom, then is just because I'm sure many people who are interested in this will have watched the Loop-Op video, which, as is always the case, does a very good job in walking you through things. But just like briefly, just give us a little walk around.
Yeah. So in essence, we've got 3 layers that we can play with, as you can kind of see from the different color grids.
And they can be laid out in different ways then as well.
Indeed. So I can very quickly show you that. We'll go into the main menu. And if I go into grid, I can actually change very quickly. So with my hands. So if you look, I've got this whole long list of choices that we can make.
Okay.
There was, I think, initially going to be the ability to create your own layouts, but I think they tried to simplify it, and so they've just got this nice list of variations. So if we go back to the full device there, Gaz, as I'm switching through these presets, you'll see various combinations of that grid to suit, I guess, different needs. One of my favorites is always the 3x3. That's quite a nice one. Gives you kind of an equal amount of pads for each one. It can vary. So if I load one of my scenes, let's see if we can.
I'm going to make the assumption then that the highlighted squares are the root notes and that you are in scales there.
Indeed, yes. So if I go back into grid, you'll see here it's in the root of C. This particular one I created in Lydian, which was rather weird. I'm not sure why I did that, but I did.
I'm into Lydian.
And actually, you can see they're actually set to different octaves as well. So there's C2, C3, and then another C3, just because I wanted to be able to play different areas of different octaves. But yeah, so in essence, if I come all the way back out, you've got 3 synths. So I've got the blue part of the grid is 1 synth currently. And that's the PMD synth.
So those 3 buttons then are dedicated to the swapping between the synths. That's their job.
That's their one purpose in life. And they're color coordinators. You've got the blue, the orange, and kind of pinky purple at the end. And you can see, maybe not on the screen, but there's a different synth being pulled up each time. So that was the PMD synth there. That one's the Fat synth, which anyone who's got a Tracker Plus or a Play Plus will have experienced. And then this one's one of the new ones as well. This is WAVs, so it's like a wavetable synth in essence. And yeah, so at the moment this is set to play chords, and then I've got. So you can actually get quite a lot of percussion, even though there's no drum synth as such. They're quite versatile synths, so you can actually get quite a lot of different sounds out of them. And then I think the final one, which is the wavetable synth on this one. And so you've got these 3 different synths, and what's really nice with them, they all, I guess, are attached to an ARP or a sequencer. So you could just play them if you had enough hands, but you do have a sequencer for each one. So there's an ARP or a sequencer you can choose. So which is really interesting because you can set them going and then play one of the other synths while the other 2 are doing things, which is quite nice. Well,
I was kind of curious about the sequencer side of things because obviously Polyend have got a good reputation with sequencers, and with the various things, including the Polyend Seek, which I think hasn't been made for a while. But talk us through the sequencer then, because that's one of the details I haven't really looked into.
Indeed. So let me see. Let me just pick something that isn't too crazy. Let's see.
Piotr is in the chat room. Nice one. Hey.
So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to change one of these because this is just a scene at the moment, but I'm going to just switch to the sequencer. So the sequencer is just a blank slate to start with, and you can, in essence, let's see if we can, I might have to change a few things.
Okay. If you
know what? Let's be crazy. Let's go to an initialized patch. And we'll pull up a sound.
So in the layout, then, as I say, those you've got the three dedicated buttons there, which flip between the synths.
Mm-hmm.
So when that whatever's selected, then the controls are going to be like, yeah, if we look on the screen there, you've got essentially there you've got 1, 2, 3, you've got 7 parameters. Those will be the encoders on the right hand side.
That's it. So that little bank of encoders always matches whatever's on the screen. So so we've switched to a sequence now. And for some reason, let's see. I'll just play some really simple notes.
Yeah.
And then what we'll do, we'll take it back out of record mode. And then instead of having to play those notes,
give it a bit more gain, I think, on there. Oh, wait. Yeah. Yeah. Crank it up.
And what it's in essence doing, it's cycling through those notes. So it's a very simple sequencer, but it's, I guess, my nearest comparison would be the SH101 sequencer. So you can put gaps, you can put basically rests in. So basically you can play them in like, it's not real time, unfortunately, but you can just play them in. And then if you hold shift, that puts a rest in. So you can actually build really quite complex ones. And I've seen some of the scenes where people have done like whole drum patterns with spaces with kick drums and snares. So
I think though, Tom, we've got a problem. We've got bad audio.
Oh dear.
Okay, there's audio issues. Okay, you're getting crackling. I'm so sorry. This is annoying. We've got the proper kit following the normal thing. I've no idea where this is. So we'll see if we can sort out the crackling. And the actual, we're in the YouTube studio here. You can't get at any technical. So if you can just bear with us. So hopefully we can keep the stream going. Let's give you something a bit more interesting to look at. Well, you think it's it must be the beard, says Jim Glue. Yeah.
Too many beards.
I don't know why they would be crackling. I don't know. Short of actually turning the machine off and turning it back on again.
I think, is it the mics or is it the synth? Because I did turn up the synth.
No, we're hearing things as it should be, so it must be something to do with the stream. Really, apologies about the stream. Just toggle the sample rate or buffer size, says Native VS. But I mean, are we talking it's not really, it doesn't really quite work like that. It's not. Oh, I don't know what. Weird, annoying. With this streaming mixer, there isn't anything like that for changing those settings. Oh no. Okay, maybe we can troubleshoot it a little bit.
Windows update.
Yeah.
The only windows in here are the ones we can look out of.
Okay, so is the crackling? I'm just going to ask chatties if you could just help us here. If we just play sound, can we just see is the crackling on the sound? Let's take our mics out. Okay, it's the overall audio. I can only assume then that it's something to do with the stream, and I'm really, really sorry about this. There isn't anything that we can do other than stop the stream and start again.
Just bring the mics down when we're doing something else.
No. The sound, it's the crackling is on the synth sound. No, this is no good. Oh, thank you, Cloudface. Oh, that's kind. Yeah, it's slightly buffers too low. I get that, but it's not something that you can adjust on here. Well, maybe. Hang on. Oh dear, this is so frustrating. We were all set up. Everything was good. all the technology was behaving. We come to do the stream. So this is using the YouTube Studio to stream with. And my sort of takeaway then is that it isn't particularly reliable for this kind of stuff. So, okay. Really sorry about this. Just bear with us. I don't know if there is a little. I hate this thing where the software is in different bits. Like if there is, see, there's nothing in here. Nah, I think we might have to just end the stream, I think. What a shame. Because I'm actually listening to a monitor of what is going out. This is like the I've got it on my mixer, a little USB stream, and it's perfectly clear. So I'm almost certain that it's not the computer. Like if it was the buffer issue, then this USB stream monitor on here, we would no signal, no crack. Seems okay now. Oh, the plot thickens. Wow, we got 62 of you out there. Please stick with us. Oh, it's still happening, just not as much. Okay, I'll just make sure any background things are off. Just like so nothing else is running. Okay. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for the support and the encouragement. Sounds clean for now. Okay, so maybe it's something outside of our hands. I was trying to convince Tom about streaming being like this kind of cool thing to do.
Have I jinxed it? Is that what it is?
Maybe. The beards have been blamed, so maybe there is something in that.
Too many beards in one room. Oh.
Okay. Okay, it's improved. Can we play that clean sound? Let's see if this is clean.
I've brought down the master volume of it.
No,
I don't know
keep that up. Keep that up. Yeah, let's make that nice and loud. Oh, thanks, Cold Storage. Yeah. Seems to be working. Okay. All right. So let's try and see if we can get back into it then. Okay. So Tom, we were just going to look at the sequencer then, weren't we?
Yes.
And then I guess like many people, we're all probably really interested to hear the sound. Actually, perhaps it might make more sense to have a listen to the sounds first, and then we'll sequence them. So, so there's 8 or so different synth engines. So when you were programming presets, then were you trying to kind of make multiple presets in the different engines, or did you gravitate to certain engines that were more that you felt that you could work with better?
I tended to. I was very regimented. I said I will do. I planned it. I had a list. I had a 15 for each synth engine. So the reason is quite a lot of my patches on there because I actually made patches for the Play Plus when it came out. I then made a massive chunk in the summer on the Tracker Plus. And then I found out about this. It got sent to me not long ago. And so I then made a few more as well on top of that. But yeah, so quite a lot of them are for the kind of original 4 synth engines that appeared on the Play Plus and the Tracker Plus. And then since this came out, I obviously made a couple of scenes. So there is 5 scenes. So a scene is a collection of your free synths. any arcs or
like
sequencer settings, or
like
your reverbs, your mix of pans and stuff. So that's all saved in a scene, so you could just recall them instantly. So I made a couple of scenes. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's have a little look then.
Shall I play a scene?
Let's have a listen to a scene.
So let's see. And what's really nice with these, what allows you to play with multiple different synths, even though you've only got two hands, is you can hold shift, and it's kind of like latching an arpeggiator. You can press them, and if you look, they're lit up. They'll stay playing. So this just goes to show there is no drum synth on this. There's no perk synth as there is on some of the other Polyend products. But they're so wide-ranging, these synths, you can get very good percussion sounds out of them. Hence this hilarious patch called clap or snare. And the reason it's called clap or snare is because when you start changing the parameters, it can sound like a snare. It does some quite wild things.
Yeah, dig in. Let's have a listen.
And so we have an arpeggiator. And what's really nice, I've got Synth 2 set up to be a pad. So let's... So as you can see, one thing it was doing interestingly there was the chords I was playing with Synth 2 on this orange part of the grid was actually affecting the third synth. So it was basically shifting the scale that it was playing on. So it's basically it's been told to follow Synth 2 in essence.
Okay, yeah, okay. So I was also interested then, though, that does the selection of the parameters they stay locked to the button selection, or is it the last touched synth that the
so whatever you're controlling up here is linked to the three main synth kind of buttons.
That makes sense, doesn't it?
What is interesting, there is a way around that, and it's quite a nice little way of doing it. So what I was controlling there was these three here, which on the screen, if you want to go to the screen, guys, you'll see they're touch sensitive. So these are like macros.
Yeah.
So I have a bunch of parameters set to each of these macros. So timbre, one's called experiment, one's called movement. You can name them to whatever you want, but when we were making presets, we tried to keep it as standard as possible.
And they're like kind of scene level then, those macros?
So they're patch, actually. So they're patch level. So when you just make a patch or a preset, you can actually set your macros and they will always be controlled. So it means rather than having to go to a filter, or you control your filter, you control the envelope, you control lots of things in one dial.
But for one synth or multiple synths?
Interestingly, you can do multiple synths. So if you hold down all three synth buttons at the same time, and I was to turn, say, the timbre macro, it will change the timbre macro for all three synths.
By holding the buttons down.
It becomes a combo then, rather than just a macro. So,
okay.
I guess a bit like Control All on the old machine drum, which is one of my favorite things. That kind of being able to hold something and just mangle everything at once, which can kind of be crazy, but can be quite fun.
Break your patches instantly.
But I think what I was controlling in that little scene was the kind of clap snare sound, because it can go to quite amazing places. Like just like I think the experiment. If I actually have a little quick look at my macro for this synth. Experiment is controlling the exciter strike level, the exciter mallet, the resonance space, and the modulation amount. So you can stack lots of things within that one macro. And of course, that's just the macro. You still have, for each synth, you do still have, your different areas. So you've got your resonator, you've got your exciter, your envelopes. So you don't have to just stick with those macros. You can go to any of the sections which are all labeled clearly, and they have their own, because it is just a synth. You've not got a massive amount of menu diving in regards to the synth, like pages in essence. So
So apparently the crackling is back. So I'm really sorry about this, everybody. It's I have no idea why. I've got a really good wired, very fast internet wired into the system. It's a fairly new MacBook. It's yeah. I have no idea why it's happening. It's just really frustrating, and I'm really sorry for everybody that is having to put up with that. It's yeah, I've got everything, all background tasks turned off. I don't know what more we can do, really. Thanks, Mr. Spoon. Yeah, this is annoying. This is annoying. I'm done in. I don't know. You know, we've got the fastest internet that you can get in Bristol, so it, you know, and it's a wired connection coming in. It's all top quality stuff. So I don't know. No, it's all good. Everything, you know, it's okay. I'm going to assume that it's YouTube, something to do with YouTube. Yeah, it sounds like a buffer size issue. Okay. Man with Beard says the crackling is minor and you can hear everything that's being said.
Oh, well, that's good.
Okay.
You could listen to us drone on. Then.
Yeah, but at the same time, it makes me angry because just Synth Addict saying probably need a reboot before streaming. That is an absolutely brilliant idea. It's just one of them things, isn't it? You just got to remember to do it. That is a. I mean, you're right. You might have worked, although because I'm not. The way I'm monitoring is I'm monitoring the USB stream, so I'm not monitoring I'm monitoring what's going out. So I'm assuming then, but yeah. It must be in the stream itself. Okay, but thank you everybody for sticking with us.
Do we have any questions, maybe?
Well, there has been a few questions, although some of the questions have been asked. One of the questions were if there were drums or percussion synths in there, which there aren't, or there aren't yet. I mean,
no. So the one that would normally have been in there, I guess, would have been Perk. So anyone that knows the other Polyend devices, there is a synth called Perk, which is the drum synth. So that's in the Play Plus and the Tracker Plus.
So there's a chance it might come.
You never know. But I guess the bonus, here, is it is really a dedicated synth, and you gain a number of extra synths. You've got the granular synth, the wavetable synth, the physical modeling synth. And of course, one of my favorites, PHZ, which is the phase distortion. So, in essence, kind of very similar to Casio's attempt at FM. So,
the CZ. Really. But I suppose what's quite nice about the layout of the synthesizer, though, is everything is kind of ambiguous in a way, in that. They could add more synth engines in the future, and knowing Polyend, who've been brilliant with updates, that I wouldn't be surprised if
I know that the Polyend team, since I met Piotr at Machina, not this year but last year, so that's how I got to know the Polyend guys. And I know they do get a lot of stick online, but they have been working hard. I think in this last week alone, every day over the last 5 days or so, there has been an update for one of their devices, all the way back to the original tracker as well. So, and I think one of the things that was asked for lots was a MIDI performance mode, which I think was the Play got. So that's people seem to be happy with that. So it's one of those, isn't it? We always want more, and many more things that can possibly be done. But
anyway, I think as we've been talking about the engines, I think it would be quite nice if we went through. Like if you created an initial patch and then just gave like a really basic sound, maybe lock down if you lock down an arpeggiator, can you change the engine and the arpeggiator still run without it stopping?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
let's do that. So we can get like a bit of a. Steve Elbow says the crackling is kind of gone for the moment, so let's hear some sound. So this makes sense. So what we'll do then, we'll just do and we'll do this in the most basic way. So we'll have just like a really kind of vanilla like preset sound, arpeggiate it, and then give it let's have plenty of gain off there as well.
That'll be because I've initialize the patch. So let me just bring up the.
I could probably add more gain on this mixer as well.
Okay, let's see. So let's do what you mentioned, guys.
Yeah. So if you just step through them and say the name of the engine and a tiny description of each one.
I'll just try. Let me play with some of the macros on this one. It's quite. So this is the ACD synth. So people might have experienced this one a few times because it's been around a little while. So there's loads of different sounds, but it's a very Roland 101 kind of synth. This was called Constellations, one of my ones. Another one of mine, Croaky bass. It's an interesting one trying to make specific sounds, whether they're basses or pads. It was really hard to be regimented, otherwise everything for me would be pads. It's really dangerous. Now, obviously, some aren't going to be perfect; they're going to have slower attacks. But yes, you can. Very Stranger Things sounding one.
But I mean, can we do this? So with the just like is that just changing? That's changing presets, so rather than just changing the engine.
I'm just changing presets there. But
No, I just like to hear just like the same preset, but just change the engine.
Yeah. So the same arps go in.
Yeah.
I'm going to switch straight to the fat synth, straight to another sound.
Yeah, just keep. Just change each one without, so we go, one sound off that, next one, etc. Because I'm just trying to hear how different each one sounds from each other.
So this is the wavetable synth. So one of my patches, cat synth. So the first two we had was the ACD and the fat synth. So we have VAP.
Yeah.
So virtual analog polysynth.
Yeah. No, but just like all I want to hear is just that. Sorry, I'm being a bit bossy here. I just want a really plain sound, and then just go immediately to the next engine, that sort of thing. Yeah, irrespective of the settings. Yeah, that's the way.
So WTFM, so wavetable FM synth.
Yeah.
Physical modeling. So I have a good authority from Piotr that I think it's based upon Mutable Instruments elements. This actual physical modeling synth.
It's got that elements vibe.
The PHZ, which is the phase distortion.
Yeah.
Now, let's see if I can find it. This is the granular one.
Yeah.
So not every sound is perfect for arpeggiation because some of them are very evolving sounds.
No, this is fine though. I think the reason why I was trying to sort of emphasize that particular approach though was I was just curious to hear how different they sound from each other, and I think the answer is very different sounding.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of everything in there, and like I said, because they're such a broad synths, you are not tied down to just synth sounds. Like I said, quite a lot of the scenes in here are like, some people have created whole drum kits out of it. So you've got 3 synths, kick, snare, and then maybe a bass line or an acid sound. So it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, nice. Cool. Okay, so I think now, I mean, I was thinking before we jumped to, into the presets too much, was just a little kind of like basic sort of like look at the different engines. Let's now then, so you mentioned about pads, for instance, and saying that you'd let me hear some of the pads that you've made on here.
Crikey. Let me see if I can find them. There is so many on here from so many talented people.
There's pads, specific, your pads.
Yeah, let's see. I'll recognize them when I see them.
So when you're browsing, then let's just have a look on the screen there.
So it's got like this long old list. It's all alphabetical.
So I see what happens then. So you browse preset by choosing the engine and then presets within.
So it's kind of like a little hierarchical kind of menu system.
But you don't have like a bass lead sort of
there's
pad
no filtering, no. So I guess I think I've seen, I know some of the patch creators, I saw them. I think actually that was one of the things I kind of put in, like when we were discussing the software, because not only were we making patches, we were, I guess, giving feedback on the beta versions of the software as it was being developed. We were the guinea pigs in essence, so in the hope that everyone else isn't. So yeah, I guess we're spoiled with, for example, Electron, where you've got that filtering of sounds and stuff. So I guess it's something I was used to because I have a lot of Electron synths. So, but at the moment, it's just a big list.
So in a way, then I suppose getting familiar with what the different engines are, then there's going to be more likely to be pads, like in say the grain engine, for instance. You're going to, the like the, I suppose, well. What's the polyphony then on the? It's 8.
So 8 notes of polyphony, but it's shared across all of the free synth kind of slots.
And then I think something we were talking about on Sonic today. Then is it right that some of the engines are more resource hungry?
Yes. So the two that are the physical modeling and the granular synth. So in essence, you've got 2-note polyphony max for the physical modeling. I tend to find it's such a rich sound anyway. I've not really used more than 1 note of polyphony. I tend to have it set as 1 note. And the granular one similarly is 1 note of polyphony. But I think Sandro did mention in the Sonic State chat earlier today, there's like paraphony. So you can play more than 1 note, but it obviously works it a lot harder then. So but yeah, in essence, you could if I go to the synth page. So the synth page, basically, you can see your free slots. It's quite a nice, informative screen. It tells you your free synths at the bottom, like in the abbreviation, so FAT, ACD, for example, on there. You can control where the MIDI is coming in and out of, so you can set it to, I guess at the moment it's set to jack, but you could, all your MIDI channels, you can then go to USB as well. So you've got MIDI channels over USB. And this is obviously where you set your voices. So at the moment, for example, you can see I've maxed out a 3 because the other 2 have got 4 and 1. So it is literally a case of you can dial them down and up to suit what you need. So if you know you want a pad, I generally set one of them to 4. If I want a bass or a monophonic sound, I set that one to 1, and so on and so forth.
Okay, so, right, yeah, okay, that makes sense. A question coming from the chat room is from Synth Addict saying, so there is a 12-step sequencer with extensions on the bottom row? Question mark. I've not heard about that yet. I think what you might be thinking there, actually, Synth Addict, is depending on how you've got the synthesizer pad set up, it might look like it's a sequencer, but each of the 3 synths gets a sequencer, doesn't it?
It has an ARP and a sequencer. So yeah, so if you look here, if I go to the ARP page, ARP or sequencer page, you can see these are the 3 different. So for example, we got this initialized patch. That first synth had the ARP, which is what we were listening to. And currently any other synths don't have them set at the moment. But yes, they each have an individual one. And I found them really fantastic to use, especially the 101 sequencer. Even though it's very, very minimal, it's actually something quite freeing about that. A bit like the 101 was. It's just you bang in the notes, put a couple of rests in, and sometimes those happy accidents happen, and they're pretty wonderful. And you just let it cycle along in the background. And one of the favorite things I've done is not even have a set even amount of notes, just have really odd amounts, and then you get these kind of odd, where the notes aren't always lining up, they're kind of drifting in and out of sync with each other, which is quite
nice. Okay, well, let's hear some more sounds. So pads, we were thinking about some pads, or anything you want actually.
Let's find a pad. That's what we were going to do, wasn't it? So actually, one that I was using in a thing before. Let's turn off the old ARP because that doesn't help us. What I'll do to make my life easier, I'm going to set this first synth. Let's see, I'm going to put it into one of the chord modes. Yeah, there we go.
Are the pads velocity sensitive? And
they're velocity sensitive and polyphonic,
pressure.
And pressure. So actually,
pressure sensitive.
Yeah. So one of the macros is a pressure sensitive one, and it's polyphonic. as well. So it's literally everything you can press can be slightly different depending on your amounts of pressure. So yeah, so you can get some really interesting kind of. I think I had it in one of the scenes I played earlier. I think I had one that was. Let me pull up one of those scenes. That might be a good way of doing it because it's got. So let's see. So I've just set that to affect the filter basically at the moment, and it's automatically this one's set to play a chord, so I'm not having to do some gymnastics with my fingers. Now, because I've got it set to chord, though, I'm only pressing one pad. But yes, if you were to turn off chord mode, you could play each of them with different amounts of velocity. Very like the Hydra Synth, I guess. And other things.
Okay, interesting. I was looking at the price point actually. In the UK, I think it's $4.20. It was.
I think it was $499, €499. I
saw British places were selling it. I think for just a little check here, just so we don't give out the wrong information. But
I must say, I was like super impressed with that price point because
$419.
Oh well, there you go, even better.
Yeah,
so 419 UK pounds.
Yeah. It strikes me as being a really good price actually for it. Because
because its nearest rival, if you're thinking of multi-engined small synthesizers, you're looking. I think few people mentioned it in the Sonic State earlier. Like the Micro Freak. The multiple engines, but I think it's not multi-timbral. That's the one difference. I think.
No.
So you literally a lot of synths these days. There seems to be I do miss multi-timbral synths. I think I have a love for the 90s romplers, which seem to be crazy for it, like the 1080. And you've got the Integra 7 over there that I remember you did a stream on. So.
It's beast mode synth, that thing is. Question from Harry Turner Project. Do we get some randomizers and chance options? I think there is, isn't there?
There isn't a randomized function. It's one. So if that's you mean patch creation.
Oh, is that maybe for the synth, for the sequencer randomizer?
So there are LFOs. There's random LFOs, your normal sample and hold kind of thing. So there isn't a kind of a randomized function though. That's one of the things I miss on a lot of synths, and I think ASM got it massively right with the Hydra Synth. That kind of just bang craziness, and then you can dial it back down to what you kind of want. If you're short of inspiration at any given day. One of the synths I go back to time and again is my Nord Modular G2. It has a DNA-based randomizer, which is just I've lost days of my life to that. So
Piotr's chipped in there. No randomizers of chance as of yet.
No.
As of yet.
We can always hope. Pray to the Polyend gods.
Again, just mentioning Piotr from Polyend, wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us. It's. I guess it's one of these things as well, though. I mean, you do, in order to get something out and into the hands of people and being reliable, playable, and immediately usable, you have to kind of have a bit of a cut off of feature creep.
Yeah.
I'm terrible for feature creep,
Yeah, I think we've just got used to having everything on a plate in this day and age, whereas you think of most things. When I started, like I think I mentioned at the beginning of the stream in one of our reported streams earlier, I started when I was 14 and I had a room of analog synths and archaic digital synths. Even at the time, some of them were quite old, and an Atari ST with Cubase, and there were so many limitations. So for me, maybe it's just the amount of time I've been doing this. Limitations don't bother me because they're still way above what I used to have. Well,
we were talking about this on Sonic Talk earlier, and there is that thing, isn't there? I was referring to it in relation to my modular synth experiments. Is that you spend more time in single voices anyway, and try and one of the things that's really lovely about this is in fact, looking at the screen. There's a lot of editability, isn't there, on every voice?
Yeah.
So
there's multiple pages as well. So
let's go through the pages. Let's see what we can do.
So a good example on this particular. This is the phase distortion synth. So you've got control over the shape, the kind of the oscillator kind of mod. So you can kind of really shift it in different directions. You've got,
and we're getting like an oscilloscope sort of they're showing us what's going on all the time.
And that will. that will morph depending on what you're doing. So you can really stretch and bend some of these sounds kind of quite. And you've got things like different models that it works from. And obviously there's multiple pages, but they're a nice simple, it's the same button for the main engine. And you can see you've got glide, you've got volume. I think the second one, you've got lots of things to do with reset, detune, character. Obviously you've got your filter. You've got ADSRs aplenty on this particular one. So you've got an envelope amp, you've got an envelope for the filter, and obviously an aux one, which you can route to anything you want in the mod matrix. You've got LFOs, multiple. Obviously the sequencer page, and then if I go into your mod matrix.
Oh, we got a mod matrix. Great. How many slot mod matrix?
So this one's got 6. It varies from synth to synth because I guess some synths are very basic. Like the ACD one is it's a mono synth really, even though you can play it polyphonically, but it's based upon that old architecture. So you have a much simpler LFO kind of envelope kind of affair. Whereas these ones, like the FM one and this one, you've definitely got a lot of control, and that's obviously not just this little modulation matrix. You obviously have the macros as well. So when you start factoring all those in together, like you can just have one dial.
Yeah.
You know, and this is what we were saying when you were talking to me about Eurorack earlier. It's sometimes you've only got two hands, so it's actually trying to simplify things for someone performing or playing is a big thing, I think. And so being able to just set everything to one dial. I think our good friend Finley made that macro Eurorack module. And you just patch lots of things in one big dial, changes everything. So yeah, I quite like the macros work really well for me.
And following up from the tracker and the play, very much devices which are aimed at performance and aimed at being immediate. And so what's striking you as being like the most appealing thing about the synth that you found so far?
I think for me, having the multi-timbrality, but having an arpeggiator for each of those slots, that synthesizer slots, that's what did it for me. I'm a sucker for arpeggiators. If I could literally just play 3 arpeggiators infinitum, I could sit there and that's it, I'm done, I'm happy.
Let's do it.
There's a Bristol musician that I've still not met. So if he's out there somewhere, I do want to find him one. It's called Percival Pembroke, and he has his stuff on Bandcamp. And all his stuff, very little beat driven. It's all different weird arps that are just kind of slightly shifting in and out of sync with each other. And yeah, it's
what's in our ARP choices then? And then let's get like a 3-part ARP on the go. So I like the sound of that.
Let's have a look, because I think
so Tom K. If we see any Tom K patches, they're yours.
Sadly, the patches don't have our names in front of them, so they are in there. I think I added it up just the other night. I think because I made some for the play that have come across, and for the Tracker Plus that have come across here. I think there's about 105 of them, so there's a good chance you'll come across quite a few of them.
Wow!
Across most of the engine. I think the only one I didn't make a patch for was the granular one. So that was the one I got to last, so I didn't really get to get my feet underneath the table on that one.
Okay.
Well, the scenes have our names in front. So there is 5 scenes that just say Tom K in front of them. And actually all those scenes use my sound. And I think all the other patch creators also have their names on their scenes. So, yeah, I'll happily, like, if anyone has any of the older synths, the Tracker Plus or the Play Plus, I'm sure I can somehow post them somewhere so people can get access, because they are compatible across all the devices. So most of the patches, obviously, except for the synths that are only on here, but those first 4 synths that crop up on the Tracker and the Play Plus, they will work without a hitch. So I've actually made most of the patches on the Tracker Plus before they got transferred to this. So so they do work really well.
Oh, great.
So let's see.
So I'm imagining then, what you just said then, a 3-ARP Odyssey.
Well, let's have a look. So this one's got 2 ARPs. Oh yeah, it's this one.
Yeah,
You
lovely.
go pretty crazy.
Yeah. So a couple of questions have come in actually. So Matt Brown is asking, can samples be loaded into this granular engine?
They can indeed. So some of the patches, my colleagues, my fellow patch makers, actually, I think one of them, I don't know if it was Sandroid or someone else, but they sampled their kid, and it's their kid's voice that's in the granular synth on one of the patches. So yeah, you can load in your own audio, and that's the same for the wavetables. So you can load in your own wavetables, and away you go. So it's kind of those two synths, especially, are pretty unending with the content you can put in it yourself. And actually, yeah, like the one that I just mentioned with the kid's voice just sounds amazing. Like all this like really jerky, jumpy kind of like.
Can you cut that off?
I will attempt.
In the meantime, I just want to say thank you to Cold Storage, to Robert Fatdust Hedge, and hang on, what else have I missed? Also to Cloudface for the tips. That's amazing. Really appreciate that. It's I think I'm going to pay for a streaming service. I think StreamYard maybe, or possibly Restream, and just put up and pay, hopefully, to try and make a little bit more of a reliable stream. I thought today, by just going straight to YouTube, I thought it was going to make that a kind of
streamlined.
No
pun intended.
No, I know, but it's sort of yeah. But anyway, thanks everybody though for sticking with us. We've got a really nice crowd in, and it's yeah, it's good. And so if you're joining and you're wondering who this gentleman with me is Mr. Tom Kirton, and Tom is as you've probably gathered, has made a bunch of presets for these wonderful Polyend devices. But
so this isn't the one with the really fancy.
Okay, let's.
But it's quite nice. I almost play it terribly, so I do apologize, Sandroid. This is one of yours. So this is using the sequencer, so you can actually see the little kind of stepping through.
Yes, a little more. Yeah.
And the really cool taiko drum is the physical modeling, which is quite nice. And that middle one, the orange one, that's the granular synth. I must say, I do love the latching feature, just being able to just like latch notes on and.
Great for drones. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's great fun. And you do just get lost. What I think is it's very immediate. You can literally get some stuff going very, very quickly. And of course, I've synced it up to MIDI on a number of other devices. So this and a drum machine, just those two things alone are quite wonders. This and the machine drum have been really fun. I've been having fun with that. So.
Yeah. But I guess, if you were to partner it with the other Polyend machines, they're gonna you're gonna have.
Well, I think I posted on Instagram. I did a I think I called it the Polyend Trinity, as I think people used to call the old Electron boxes. But,
the Electron Trinity up there.
Yeah, so I had literally them in a little triangle shape. So I had the Play Plus, the Tracker Plus, and the Synth, of course, all sat together. So
and they're all the same footprint then.
They're all exactly the same dimension,
the same depth.
Yeah.
So they'll all sit really nicely.
They slot
each
together
other
really nicely. And if you already have a case for any of the Polyend products, the case fits all of them as well, which is really nice. So
yeah, a couple of questions have come in. Milk Bass is asking, are they effect sends? Or do each synth have their own effects?
So they are effect sends. So if I go to the one screen we've not shown, which I feel so bad that we've done that. So we have if I slide it over, there's a mixer button, which you can see up in the top corner there.
Yeah.
I'll slide it back across. So the first page gives me control over the relative levels for each channel, the pans. And actually, you can feed one effect into another to get some quite interesting things, rather than them just being individual sends. You can, if you want the mod to go into the reverb and vice versa, that's quite a fun thing. But if I press mixer a second time, this gives me the sound specific, and you can see they match up color wise as well. So you've got the apologies,
the blue,
yellow, so the blue, that's got reverb on it. The middle sim, a little bit louder, that one, apologies everyone for deafening anyone in there. So yes, and you can see obviously the middle one's got reverb and delay, and the final one has just got reverb and a bit of mod. Now what's really nice about this as well, rather than just a standard reverb that you can just change some of the parameters, this also has presets. So you can literally change. So
they have presets, but they also there we go.
Yeah.
So there's
so you have a screen for each.
Yeah.
And what's really nice, so if I go back to that delay one, and then pull up presets, so you can save your own presets as well. These are just the built-in presets.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say I didn't make any presets for the sims for the effects, but they are some really cool ones. I think the analog wash one is it's got a really nice warble and like drift to it when it tails up. And what's really nice, you can kind of go pretty crazy. You can, of course, do your
I mean, seeing it in the room now, there's a really nice refresh to the screen. You can probably tell coming across here.
No flicker, no nothing.
It's a really lovely screen, and actually looking at it from the angle that I'm looking at, it's legible at all sorts of angles, isn't it?
And I've got terrible eyesight, so if I could look at it from this distance, that's, normally I've got my face like this.
It's just very attractive, very nice. So at the bottom there, you can see that the three different synth voices. You got the one that's is flowing a modulation into the delay, and then
so at the moment they're not, these aren't doing anything, but so at the moment they are. Individual synths are going just basically as sends being sent through certain effects. So as you can see, they've got different things turned up for each synth. But if you so wished, on that other page, if you want the mod to go into the delay or the delay to go into the reverb, like rather than run in parallel, they'll basically run into each other. So they'll obviously, I guess, have different changes to the sound because of that. So.
Okay, makes sense. A few more questions have come in. Synth Addict's asking what the CPU is in this device. Now,
I don't know.
I'm not sure that that's something that is known, but what we do know is, though, that it is running. Well, we talked about it on Sonic today. I didn't know about this, but it's running its own code, its own engine. It's not ported across. It is kind of written from the ground up. And
I must say, there was when originally testing, so we saw multiple versions of the software. I think only once or twice did I think it would give me a CPU high message, but even then it carried on playing sound. It didn't change or distort or do anything kind of crazy. And I think I really was pushing it. I think I was like maxing everything out, and I think I was trying to play chords on the grain synth, which it really was. So and I think people forget that that's what we're there to do, is to try and make it stumble so that it can make sure that it doesn't do that all the time to people. So
you haven't got like a CPU usage, but it will flash if you are.
So yeah, I don't know if that's part of the release software, but in one of the early softwares, it would occasionally flash and say CPI. But that I hide it. Yeah, I think I rarely saw it, considering how much our job was to kind of push it to its extreme, I guess, and try and make it stumble. And I must say, it's been rock solid for me. I've used so many devices over the last couple of decades, and things can be always better, but I think this has been really, really solid in the time I've used it, for about a month solid now. So
okay. Oh, that's good to know. HD is asking, are there patterns like the tracker play, or is there a song mode? Now, it's not that kind of device, is it?
No. So it's really the top highest level is that scene, and obviously that groups everything together, including the arps and the sequences that you have. But beyond that, there's not really a song mode. No.
You're likely to want to use this with something like maybe the Polyend Play, because you've got 8 sequencer tracks in the Polyend Play, so you could be using 3 of them to sequence this.
Yeah, and I've seen, I think Sandroid has just done a video on YouTube, so everyone should go and check him out. He's done a really cool video, and he's using the tracker and the synth, and obviously sequencing the synth from the tracker, because you've got quite a few MIDI channels on there to play with as well.
Yeah, of course, yeah. So I think if you're like looking at this and thinking, oh, does it not do that? Does it not do that? Then maybe the other Polyend models, like the Play Plus has those synths.
It has
some of the same.
It has that. So the 4 original synths in there, which are all fantastic synths. They're the ones I've played with the longest, because I've been playing with them since the Play Plus. Like the ACD synth, that's my favorite one. If I had to choose one, there are some beautiful ones in there, but yeah, the ACD has just got these wonderful rubbery kind of twangy bass sounds, which just sound lovely. That and a bit of delay and reverb, and you're away. 3 of them, and that's it.
Yeah, nice. Okay, so again, if anybody does want any more questions, and we are able to answer, also it's we have one of the main one of the head honchos of Polyend with us, in Piotr, in the chat currently. So, and also Sandroid in the chat, who can answer questions rather. But yeah, let's have a listen to a few more sounds. I think it's sounding rather lovely. I'd just like to hear.
Should we zoom back out? Let's
let's go there.
I can't even. You know what? It's so bad. It's I can't even remember what my own scenes sound like. So I'm just going to make it up as I go along.
Yeah.
Quite love the bass on that one synth on the ACD. It's quite lovely.
Yeah, I'm definitely starting to hear a particular quality. There is a quite a smooth quality to the sound, isn't there? The effects as well have got quite a silky quality.
So interestingly, that's got no effects on at all, that ACD synth. So we could pop a bit of. Very hence the sound rubber band. That was the one of my patches. I couldn't resist calling it.
So I think we should perhaps talk about that rather nice feature, the followers and the leaders, because that is one of the things that I think is one of the strong features.
Yes.
It's something that I've been exploring using the Oxy One sequencer. It's not quite the same, but it has that the thing where one track can influence
the other
tracks.
and it will follow. And I guess you've got on the Oxy One, you've got those chords as well that you can kind of do all the variations on chords, which is really nice.
But there, that was nice. That what you were doing there was, as you were changing on one, it was then the harmony was kind of changing on the other pads. Do you want to just like sort of explain that a little bit, if you can sort of see that in
the screen that's important here is the kind of if you want to go into that zoomed in screen.
Yeah.
So under the settings menu, you've got grid. And not only that, obviously, I think this was where earlier I was shifting between the layouts on the grid.
Yes.
But if you look here, the most important bit is the mode at the top. So you've got chord scale.
Yeah.
And then the other two are followers, which is why you would see them shifting around when I was playing chords. Now, obviously, I cheated. The reason it sounded relatively good, like I knew what I was doing, is because it was in chords in scale. So it's always in scale.
Yeah.
What's really nice is obviously it's following. Is it Phrygian? I'm not. Everyone says Phrygian.
Yeah,
I think Aphex Twin's favorite. Allegedly, that's what everyone always seems to say. But I quite like it. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
But what's really interesting, you can, if you look here, we've got chords in scale, just chords, so you can be a bit more freeform. You also have chord packs. So there are chord packs built in on here, which you can kind of. Let's see if I can. If I switch to that chord pack option instead, if you look.
Oh yeah. Oh, look at them. So those are kind of curated chords, I guess.
Yeah. So some people who've made. I'm not that good with my
theory,
my music theory, sadly. So I didn't make any chord packs to go along with my scenes, but some of these relate directly to the chord scene.
Let's have a listen to some of these. I'm dead interested in.
Well, if you look here, so if you look as I scroll through on the. You'll see the.
Oh yeah, you can see the
root notes kind of shifting around basically. But yeah, let's give it a try, because it's one thing that I have not delved into vastly. So let's see what it does. See if it even works with the one I've done, because this was just one of my scenes. So be interested to see.
Ooh, Piotr is actually saying for us to check out some Dear Mr. Blake scenes to demo some of the chord packs. But sorry, I'm interrupting you there. Do you want
No. Let's see. Let's Dear Mr. Blake. Here we go. Because yes, I knew there was a few that utilize. Does Piotr have a request? Is there one that he specifically? Because I've not had a chance to play with every single scene yet. There's too many good ones.
Just try one at random.
Let's see what it does. So I could just check to see what it is doing. So yes, so the chord pack is being used on the third synth on the purple part of the pad, and it's in major. So let's see what it does.
Let's have a listen.
Okay, so I'm going to have a very quick glance to see what's going on. Ooh, this is quite lovely.
There's quite a joyous sound about this synth.
Yeah. It's an optimistic synth.
It is optimistic, I agree. It's kind of does it do dirty though? I mean, can you get dirt really?
Yeah.
These are nice, though.
They're quite beautiful, yes.
So that brought in the sounds as well as the harmonies.
So that would have brought in, So
that was a scene. That was a scene, yeah.
And hilariously, not promoting myself here, but actually one of my patches is used in this as well, even though it's someone else's scene, which is really nice to see other people utilizing those sounds in the wild. So yeah, that's using bend bass, a physical modeling sound called Gimbri, and an ACD one called Analog Tales. And obviously the chord was the chord one. I do like my basses.
Yes, nice. I just here's something. This is a book by Imogen Holst, daughter of Gustav Holst, famous composer of the Planets. It's called An ABC of Music, and it's just like a forward by Benjamin Britten. It's just a sort of
music theory 101.
Music theory 101, but I think it's. I mean, this is the third copy of this I've had. It's just like a really useful, if you're interested in the theory side of it, which I'm really interested in, the mixing of music theory with technology. So I just recommend that. Although Imogen Holst gets a black mark in my book because she tried to stop the release of Tomita's amazing version, the synthesizer version of her father's Planets suite.
Oh, yes.
Which the Tomita version of it is awesome. Really recommend that. So I'm recommending Imogen Holst's book, but but I think she was a little bit.
What did her copybook with that?
She was appalled by it. But I mean, if you listen to it, Tomita. Have you listened to Tomita?
Yes.
I mean, it's such beautiful, expressive synths. I mean, when was that? I think it was 1976 or something. It was a long time ago. However, that aside, that's a really good. That's a really good one. An ABC of music is called. Anyway, sorry, little digression there.
Good. I wish I had better music theory, sadly.
Well, yeah, me too. I just, I think modern devices that let you do things like this, I think, are brilliant. I mean, why should beautiful harmony be kind of, some people are quite snobby about it and say, you have to study and go through all of that, in order to access it. But actually, I think making that just glorious harmony available, why not? And I think this is a really attractive way of doing it.
Oh, well, you can see straight away. I had never used that scene before, and it sounded beautiful straight away. So, and it gives you starting points to create your own scenes. I guess that's the aim. But I always say that some of our greatest musicians historically have been maybe not classically trained, and it's just by ear. So there is something to be said for that. I'm sadly not one of them, but
It's so Piotr's saying there's a lot of music theory actually implemented in the unit. Actually, whilst Piotr's here, I've got to say, I'll tell you a little anecdote that Piotr can verify, because it was like something very funny happened at Superbooth a few years ago. I'd been making content with Sonic and been running around the whole time just trying to get as much content in as possible. And on the Sunday or the Saturday, the last day of the event, I was with Andy Mack from Sonic State, and we just decided, we were in the main foyer, and we just decided that we were done, and we'd finished the job. And it's really nice. I get recognized a lot at Superbooth, which I guess just goes with the territory. Someone came up to me once at Superbooth, and it's a big German guy, and he points at me and goes, "You do realize that you can be recognized from the furthest away?" And I was thinking, oh, but anyway, with Piotr and some of the other guys from Polyend, and we and I said, right, okay, job's done. So I'm going to tie my hair back, put my sunglasses on, and then no one will recognize me. And at that precise moment, this blind man with a white stick came up and said, "Hey, hello, guys." And it was just straight out of the comedy. I mean, nothing, I don't mean anything wrong by saying this. It was just the timing. It was the timing of it. And we all looked at each other. It was just like, oh, okay.
He definitely heard you guys. That's what it was.
But I always feel like if I tell that story, people are going, yeah, okay, a little bit of artistic license. But no, it's a true story. But Piotr could be could verify that if I haven't scared him off.
But also a fun fact, is where I met you. Superbooth 2018. Even though we had both spent a lot of time in Bristol, I was the sound engineer in Bristol in multiple venues, and we'd never crossed paths. It was Superbooth 2018 that I hung out with you the majority of the time. So it's a bringing together of a place, isn't it, where people get to meet?
Yeah. No, absolutely. Oh, I'd forgotten about that. But so I think I'm probably going to end up. I think we're going to wrap up the stream now. I think we've been streaming quite a while now, and I think that. Well, maybe let's play. What's some of these other ones? So what's the name of it, Mr. Blake?
Let's have a little look. Let's see.
Let's have a listen.
Dear Mr. Blake.
Dear Mr. Blake. Yeah.
Let's try another one. This one's called Hot Step. So I'll have just a quick check. Okay, that's good. So I know what. Okay, let's see what it does.
I'm actually Harry Turner Project is suggesting that I have a go. Yeah.
So if you want to stop it, oh shit! What have you pulled out? Pulling cables out. So if you want to stop whatever's going on, double tap shift.
Okay.
And that just silences all of the latch keys.
Oh right.
I will shimmy across.
Shimmy.
Okay. Pop these back on. So you've got your chords.
Yep.
And then these, you can just hold shift and latch whichever pads you want for. So they are all ARPs, those other two.
So what I'd quite like is I'd just like to feel if we can get like a kind of pad sort of thing up and just sort of have a feel of Piotr. Yes. Piotr is there verifying there. Yeah. Yes, he's mentioning about the one that I had the time I met Diego Stocco at NAMM and with Vernon Reid from Living Colour. That is that's a moment in time, but yes, I was brilliant mentioning that too. Thanks, Piotr. Okay, so I'd like to get. So I wonder, like, okay, so this is my first time touching it actually. So there's a switch so you can see my ugly mug. With the scenes start at the bottom left of the chord of the chord pad. So scenes. Oh, like let's just try. I'll just try taking one of these. Oh, nice. Oh, so then you say to latch was to.
Yeah. So if you hold shift and then latch whichever keys you want. Now you could leave the chord ones not latched because you can then play.
Yes. So the chord one in this case is.
So you could.
Got you. Lovely. And then, if I wanted to change, if I wanted to play with this, I would hit this button here.
And you've got all your controls,
and dive in. I got my cut off there. Oh, it's a treat. It's an absolute gem to play with, isn't it?
And the pads feel really nice. They've got a nice kind of bit of movement to them.
And then if I can jump to any of the other ones.
Yeah.
Do you generally find cutoff and resonance on the top two? I see.
So whatever one you were last on, as you jump through each synth, it's the filter for each synth. If you're on the engine, it's the engine for each synth.
Yeah, makes sense.
And of course, C1, C2, C3 are your macros.
So when you play with one of the scenes, the timbre changing there, motion. Should get a bit more volume.
Yeah, master volume.
Oh, yeah, master volume there. Crank it.
So it can actually be quite abstract. It doesn't have to be beautiful.
No, so if I go into the scene button, not the scene button, I want to see where I choose scales and stuff.
Oh yeah. So if you press the encoder in the bottom left corner, press it in, and go to grid.
I'll go to grid. Got you.
Yeah.
Oh no, that was fine.
Yeah. Go to grid, and in here you've got, and these obviously match your parameters.
So then I can so I can, if I wanted to get into a, oh, sorry, I want to go down. Follower. Okay. Oh, so the mode is set to chord pack at the moment, isn't it?
So you would only need one key on this one. If you press one pad, it will play your chord for you, and the others shift around it.
So because it's sort of on scale then.
The Harry Turner project says never show a bass player the master volume. That was a rookie error. I do apologise.
Very good.
Should we just?
I try to get some. I like trying to go into the. Here we go. Minor sevenths, flat fives. I love finding the dark, strange bits. So we won't get diminished. A dominant seventh. It's got the flat five in, you see. That's what I was looking for. I wanted to find the flat five. Oh, yeah. I was trying to, everything was sounding too pretty. I'm bringing my nightmare ambience in. Okay, so here's something then. So a double tap a shift and then that
unlatches
everything. Okay, so my first, I mean, obviously, not necessarily making the nicest music. Brock Davison is asking a question. Do chord packs or the chord on one pad take up one voice, or does it take up whatever voices made up the chord? Like if the chord is made out of 3 notes, does it use 3 voices?
Yes. So it uses all the voices it can. So if you've given that synth four voices, so what I tend to do is I give it 4 voices, because if it's free, it's still covered. If it needs an extra 4th note in that chord, it's usually covered. So yes, it'll use that whatever it can, I guess, as long as so generally if I've got one that's the chord, playing the chord with one pad, I'll set that synth to be the one with the more polyphony. So
nice. Okay, so
hopefully that answered
it. We can see there.
So hence, yes. So that third synth that you were playing chords on, 5-note polyphony. The other ones are literally just monophonic synths. So
when will a red one be available? Well, you can always.
Like the old 101, the red and the blue one.
Or just try and initiate a nice nosebleed. So, so I suppose in this case here, there is synth 1 as one voice, synth 2 as another voice, and I guess there is a spare voice knocking around, or will that be the maximum based on?
No. So because none of those synths are limited by their polyphony, so you could set one of those to.
Does it do voice stealing? Oh no, right. So I'm locked into Okay, that's cool.
Now I guess at the moment, if you go to the sequencer and turn off the sequencer, just as a you could.
Okay. It's a nice scale, you see. And then, so as I play different. So if I was just do a little trill. I like how we found like
that chord. Yeah, it's a painful chord.
It's a lovely one. So what I want now on this voice I want to make this voice like gnarly and nasty. I want to.
So switch across to the synth.
Have we got distortion?
It's the only thing is on my wish list. An overdrive or a distortion for some of the synths, and I that would, because the Wavetable FM synth can be very dirty and very gnarly. But I think the ACD would relish a bit of overdrive and distortion. So whether that can be put in, I don't know. That's for me a personal wish, because I think the Tracker Plus had an overdrive on it, which was quite a nice one. So.
So I probably should end before I kind of instill nightmares into everyone. Okay, so everyone, thanks so much. Sensing a hint of nightmare ambience. Yes. That is what my natural gravitation is towards. So is last chance for any questions?
I think there was a question from Brock. Can we talk about wavetables? What do they do with the sound, and how much can we load? Good question. That's not one I can answer because I didn't make any of my own wavetables. I cheated and used all the built-in ones. But that is why there's an SD card. Obviously, along with all the patch and stuff, you can load your own onto the SD card. And it's USB storage mode. So you literally just plug you just plug the power lead into your laptop, and it shows up as a mass storage device and is powered as well from your laptop. So it literally just shows up as a drive on the computer, and you just drag files to it. So I'm sure.
Does it work as an audio interface over USB?
No,
but it does work as a mass storage device.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay.
And of course you can do MIDI over.
And you can do MIDI.
Yes, because you've got the jack MIDI, which is the TRS, or USB. So you've got 16 channels over USB.
Yeah. So I was. Yeah. So on the back there, really all we. Bluetooth MIDI in here at all?
No.
Okay. So power switch,
power.
USB-C, which is always nice to see. MIDI in, MIDI out, and is that MIDI? And it is clock as well, isn't it? MIDI. Oh no, is it MIDI out? No, not clock.
So it's just TRS MIDI in and out. In the settings, there is clock in and out as well, so you can basically have it sync into it. So you can sync it to other things, basically.
Oh, I see.
So, So the other day I had the Tracker. So when I hit play on my Tracker, that starts. It's in time. It uses this is the slave. The other device is the master, etc., or vice versa. However you wish to do it. So, but I would say for me personally, I always found, if the other device had a full sequencer, I would use that as the master and this as the slave. Because it's much smaller, simpler ARPs and sequencers work really well that way, being able to be kind of latched onto something else.
Okay, yeah, nice. Okay, well, I think we might. I think you should play us out, Tom, because I think you're more au fait with it than me.
I'm trying not to play any like nightmarish kind of house songs.
Go on. Nah, but
you somehow made the Polyend Synth sound like your modular system. I don't quite know how you did it, but you.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's my dark heart.
Let's have a look-see. Shout out to Legowell. There are a couple of scenes on here from him. And Isobutane, one of the masters of the Tracker. He's amazing at playing that thing. But let's go to, and I think Panra is actually Piotr, potentially. Okay. I think I saw him on a video playing some of those scenes. So, but let me find one of mine. Let's see. Is there one I've not played? Let's have a look. So funny. As soon as I need to do something with them, I just forget what they are and how they work. What have we got?
Harry's asking for just audio, so I'll take our mics out. All right. Yeah. Okay. Well,
it could get pretty gnarly.
That was nice. That was really nice. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Hello, Jason Jervis, joining now. Yes. Nice to see everybody here. Thank you, Piotr. Thank you. And Sandroid as well for joining. And that was really helpful. Thank you, everybody, as well. Please consider subscribing and liking this show, even though we've had various technical problems, of which I wipe my hands of anything to do with it. Tom can honestly back me up on that.
And if anyone wants me to come back as like a right-hand man for Gaz, let me know.
Yeah, okay.
I'm now not so nervous about doing it.
Oh, you're brilliant. It was really good. Really good. Thank you. No, you're more than welcome. Okay, thanks, everybody. I'll be back sort of sporadically. Hopefully I'm going to be streaming more, but it was an opportunity that I couldn't miss today, really. This
what time did we plan this?
During Sonic Talk.
During Sonic Talk. So I was messaging Gaz during Sonic Talk, and yeah, it just that's when we planned it, and I just drove straight from Wales to Bristol. We thought, let's bite the bullet and do it.
Yeah, great. But yeah, thanks, everybody. I'm just trying to think what's interesting to kind of keep an eye out for. I've got a bunch of things coming up soon. But yeah, I'm sure you'll see everything. Hopefully going to be doing more streams, trying to figure out how to avoid these horrible technical nightmares. But yeah. Okay. Well, we should say goodbye and thanks everyone once more. Yeah, see you soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.